know how many egg timers have been broken in the name of practice? Quite a few. You know, back when I was younger, the whole idea of practice was this mind-numbing, awful, like, do something you hate to do for this many minutes and then you'll be done. When I think of practice, I think of the piano. That was where my practice came in. And my mom would turn the dial on the egg timer for 30 minutes and set it on the top of the piano. And I would probably play a couple little scales and then try to turn the knob back so the time would go faster and I'd be done. And I'd end up breaking, the egg timer because egg timers don't work like that. But, as I've gotten older, the whole idea and concept of practice has changed in my mind in a huge, huge way. It started kind of when I started doing meditation and I became aware of mindfulness and the idea that both of these are practices. People freak out and they're like, I can't meditate because my brain won't stop. I just can't make it stop. And I'm like, yeah, who can? No one. That's not the point. And this is where it got magical for me. The point is that it's a practice. And the practice of meditation is noticing. Noticing when your mind has wandered and you're no longer focused on your breath, to gently, compassionately, without judgment, say, excuse me, you're supposed to be over here. Yeah, we're being mindful of breath right now. Not thinking of new blog posts and new video scripts. Yeah, let's come back to this. And you do it over and over and over again. That's the practice of meditation. And the same goes for mindfulness. Like when you're in the middle of a situation and like I use this with my kid a lot. Like I'm in the middle of a situation. She's driving me bonkers. I'm about to lose it. And I think, oh, you got to remember to breathe, girl. You got to remember to breathe. That's the practice. To remember to be in the moment, to be mindful of where you're at and what you're doing, and to remember to breathe. That's the practice of it. So the other day, I get it in a couple of little areas of my life that this whole practice thing is an awesome idea, and it really alleviates the stress of perfection. You see, you don't have to be a perfect meditator when you sit down for the first time. You get to practice. And the more your brain goes crazy and the more you drift away from your breath, the better, because that's just a little more practice for you. See? It like totally alleviates the whole perfection element of things. So the other day, I'm reading this book called Parenting in the Present Moment. I really do enjoy the way that mindfulness has changed my parenting. And so now I'm kind of getting everything I can of the perspective so that I can see what fits and maybe implement a little more in my life. So I'm on page 6, okay? I'm on page 6 of this book, seriously, 6 pages in. And the author says, I believe that parenting is a practice. And I immediately felt this lift of relief and a sigh escaped my body, and I said, holy shit, I can do that. I can do that. And all in that moment, like parenting was no longer this incredibly stressful thing that I was getting wrong every single minute of the day, but it became a practice. So, what's the practice of parenting? And here's where she elaborated a little, and it's kind of what I love it. And I'm going to add my own stuff to it, I'm pretty sure. But basically, there's kind of these North Star points, these places that you always can look to lead you in the right direction. Compassion, love, kindness. And those are kind of the North Star points of parenting. That when you are in the midst of losing your shit with your kid and you remember to take a breath and you then practice bringing yourself back to that North Star point. Like, is this kindness? Is this behavior I'm exhibiting an act of kindness, an act of compassion? And if it's not, okay, without judgment, without harshness, without cruelty to yourself, it's okay. We're practicing. Bring it back. Bring it back to kindness. Bring it back to love. Bring it back to compassion. And whatever the situation is, alter your behavior and your thoughts and your breathing. That always helps. Alter yourself to deal with that situation with your head, your mind, and your heart pointed toward your North Star. Do you see how amazingly awesome this is? Like, instead of having to be a perfect parent every moment of the day, you get to practice. You get to practice. And you get to stop beating yourself up for the mistakes that you make. Because you're going to make mistakes. My God, we're moms. We're human. Mistakes are going to happen. You're going to lose it at some point. It may be today, maybe a minute from now, it might be next week, hell, it could be every 5 minutes. But we're going to make mistakes. We're going to lose it. And that's okay. The practice is in coming back to your North Star points, whatever you determine those to be for your family. And you just pull your family values into your North Star points, and you keep bringing yourself back there over and over and over again. Just like playing scales on the piano, 30 minutes every day. But this time, this practice is all the time in your life. It's about noticing and bringing yourself back. And you can do that. And remember, no judgment. No judgment. You don't get whacked with a ruler when you realize you're in meditation and you're writing a new blog post in your head. You don't get whacked with a ruler. You get gently escorted back to the breath. And you can do that with your parenting as well. Doesn't that feel good? It feels super good to me. All right, well, that's it for today. I'm Jackie Lee, the Zen Wahm, well, the wannabe Zen Wahm, and I will see you next time.